I think I said a similar thing last Sunday night. So sometimes as I read through these Psalms and I think about what to say on the Sunday, I genuinely think I'd be better off just reading the Psalm several times. There's so much richness within that I can never convey. And Psalm 22 is one of those Psalms. It's a longer Psalm, and we won't be able to go into every bit of detail. But the theme within is one of despair, turning to salvation, turning to rejoicing. And that's what we're going to focus on this morning, that pattern. And we're going to look at it, I hope, through three different lenses. First and foremost, this is a psalm of David, a lament of David. He wrote it, he meant it. But it's a psalm that's wonderfully fulfilled in Christ. And it's a psalm that's relevant to us as well. As we've been going through these psalms, the three questions: what's going on? Where is Christ? And how do we respond? Become evident in this psalm. As we go through first, I'm going to focus on David and think, what was David saying as he wrote these words? As he wrote this great psalm, obviously led by God. You cannot fail to spot the anguish in his voice, in his pen, stylus, whatever he was writing with. You cannot fail to spot the anguish as he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? I cry by day, but you do not answer. I cry by night, but I find no rest. And we'll come to this, but I imagine those words are words that to some extent we may all have felt at some point in our life. Here, David feels that the God of his fathers, a God who made promises to never turn his back on his people, a God who time and time again through the book of Genesis said, I, the God of Abraham and Jacob and Isaac and so on, will be with you. And now David feels abandoned. He feels that he has been separated from God, left behind, forgotten about in some way. God explicitly promised to David that the reality of that wouldn't happen. And we read in 2 Samuel chapter 7, where God made covenants with David. Verse 9 of 2 Samuel chapter 7 says, I have been with you wherever you went and have cut off all your enemies from before you. I will make for you a great name, like the name of the great ones of the earth. Verse 12 says, when your days are fulfilled and you lie down with your fathers, I will raise up offspring for you. I will establish his kingdom. Verse 16, I shouldn't have turned. Verse 16 says, and your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever. Before me, your throne shall be established. God had promised that he would establish David's name, that he would make it great. And now David feels cast aside by him. We don't know why. It may be after the affair or the relations with Bathsheba and the realization of sin, perhaps when Nathan, the prophet, came to point out that sin. It may be at one of the many times he was at war, when his family turned against him, at times where most of the nation seemed to turn against him. David had many times where he would have been filled with despair. And we cannot fail to see the anguish. But even in that anguish, even in the depths of despair, David remembers that he worships a holy God. Verse 3, you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In you our fathers trusted. They trusted and you delivered them. To you they cried and were rescued. David, now serving God as God's anointed king, in the depths of despair, looks back at what God has done for his people. Maybe his mind went to when the Israelites were rescued from Egypt and God so wonderfully showed his power. Maybe his mind went to when they were rescued from the various enemies in Canaan as they were conquering the promised land. Time and time again, God had showed himself faithful to his people. And David begins to take comfort in that knowledge. Yet it seems it's not enough. It seems it's not enough to comfort him. To compile the misery further, not only does he feel forsaken by God, a God he serves, a God he has been chosen by, he feels that the world is against him as well. Verse 6, I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him rescue him, for he delights in him. The king of these people, God's chosen king, feels despised by the people. They mock him. They say, well, he trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Despite being God's chosen king, he has been brought so low. He has been made so humble. There's a few things we get from that. Firstly, those who are in high places shouldn't rest on their laurels, as it were. They can be humbled by God, and they should humble themselves before him. And the second thing, and this is of interest, Bill put me onto this actually, the word worm in Hebrew there in I am a worm is a different type of worm to what's normally the Hebrew word for worm. That I'm not going to try and pronounce them, but the normal word is one that's translated more maggot. But here we have a worm that some see as well, I think it was a scarlet worm, and the two words are slightly different. And it was a worm that was used to make dye for red cloth and such like. And if you wish to go and look into that later and see what you think, many will take that as a great typology of Christ and the various habits of this specific worm. But I'll leave that with you. David chose his words very carefully. Despite that, we see the pain of the word, scorned by mankind, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. David knows who to call upon. He has great suffering. Verse 11, he starts to call out, be not far from me, for trouble is near. There is none to help. In the depths of despair, David recognizes that he can call upon that God, the God who has rescued his people time and time again. And we get a real sense of his pain as we read from verse 12 through to verse 20. I'm not going to read it all, but a few things jump out. They open their mouths at me like a ravening and roaring lion. I'm poured out like water. My strength is dried up. My tongue sticks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of death. Dogs encompass me. They have pierced my hands. They gloat over me. And verse 19, but you, O Lord, do not be far off. O you, my help, come quickly to my aid. Deliver my soul from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the mouth of the lion. You have rescued me from the horns of the wild oxen. You have rescued me. In the depths of despair, David calls upon God and recognizes that he will and can and does rescue him. All those things are going on in the great pictorial language here. And David knows that there is a God who can rescue him. And then once he recognizes that, once he's called out for urgent rescue, the tune of this psalm changes entirely. We go from despair to praise. Verse 22, I will tell of your name to my brothers in the midst of the congregation. I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. Offspring of Jacob, glorify him. Stand in awe of him. He has not despised or abhorred the affliction of the afflicted. He has not hidden his face from him, but has heard when he cried to him. If you were to read the start of this psalm and the end of that psalm, it seems like two entirely different songs. We have great despair, a recognition of salvation, turning to great praise. What a transformation God can bring about. What a transformation brought about in the mind of David when he recognized the salvation that was being offered to him, salvation from whatever it may have been, an enemy or the depths of sin, whatever it may have been. God answered the call of the needy, and the song of praise continued. And I think that's enough about David. Despair turned to salvation, which in turn turned to praise. So the question, where is Jesus, should be a fairly easy one to answer. And I've written in my notes, and I don't think I should have done, if you can't see Jesus, you need to go to Specsavers. And I thought that was really witty last night, but I'm now questioning that. You should be able to see Jesus so clearly in this psalm. It could be a psalm of almost direct prophecy. If you keep one hand in Psalm 22, it might be helpful to turn to Matthew 27 as well. And we read various things that Matthew chose to write about Christ and his sufferings on the cross. Psalm 22 and verse 18 said, they divide my garments among them. For my clothing they cast lots. Matthew 27 and verse 35 says, when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. In all the sufferings of Christ, I don't think I focus on that much, but isn't that great humiliation that even at death, the first thing that people think isn't any kind of sympathy, but what can I get here? What can I take out of this? It's almost like vultures ripping at the carcass. Psalm 22 and verse 7 said, all who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. Matthew 27 verse 39, the account of the crucifixion. Those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads, saying, you who would destroy the temple and rebuild it, save yourselves. If you're the Son of God, come down from the cross. We carry on, Psalm 22, verse 8. He trusts in the Lord, let him deliver him. Matthew 27, verse 43. He trusts in God, let God deliver him. If he desires him, he said, I am the Son of God. One more from Matthew, I promise. Psalm 22, verse 1. How could I not? My God, why have you forsaken me? Matthew 27, verse 46, words uttered by Christ on the cross at the 9th hour with a loud voice saying, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? And if we can see the pain in David's voice, surely we can see the pain and anguish in the voice of Christ. In the psalm, we recognize some kind of deliverance, a kind of vindication, if you will. So surely if this psalm is pointing to Christ, we should expect the same thing. Well, the answer is yes. Psalm 22 and verse 22 eventually goes on to say, I will tell of your name to my brothers. In the midst of the congregation, I will praise you. We just turn over to Hebrews very briefly, Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 12. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 12 says, verse 11, he who sanctifies and those who are sanctified all have one source. That is why he is not ashamed to call them brothers. saying, I will tell of your name to my brothers. In the midst of the congregation, I will sing your praise. Again, I will put my trust in him. Again, behold, I am the children God has given me. David recognized the deliverance given to him and therefore praised the name of God. We recognize the deliverance brought about by Christ and the deliverance of Christ, the resurrection from death. Death could not hold him. And therefore we tell others of him and we praise his name. He was proved to the people to be in the right when he proclaimed, I am the King of the Jews, a statement for which they sought to kill him. He proved himself correct. But the thing that gets me about Psalm 22 is the anguish of David's voice pointing towards that suffering servant. As I said earlier, it may be helpful this afternoon to read through this psalm a few times, read it in the lens of David in his context, read it in the lens of Christ. Read these words, Psalm 22, verse 6 to 8, knowing we're talking about the Son of God, as we sung, one who was there at creation, God himself, a person of the Trinity, the Son of the Father. His greatness, and yet these words apply to him. I am a worm, not a man, scorned by mankind, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Or verse 12, which goes on, bulls encompass me. The strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open their mouths wide at me like a ravening and roaring lion. I'm poured out like water. My bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted within my breast. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, a piece of pottery. My tongue sticks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of death. The God, the Christ, whose rightful home is in heaven, left the glories of heaven behind to come to this earth to face such suffering, to face such torment and despair that culminated in the moment when he cried out upon the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why did he do all that? He did it for you and for me, so that we can trust in him and be brought back into a right relationship with him. Romans 5 verse 8 says, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That moment of forsakenness, which I'm not entirely sure is a word, but you know what I mean. Christ's great moment of forsakenness was the moment that true praise, true confident praise could begin. And that moment of forsakenness upon the cross, the moment where his life was offered up, was the moment that for the first time, all the ends of the earth became relevant. Verse 27, I didn't read it a minute ago, says, all the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Lord. How great it is that David wrote that in a time when he was king of God's chosen people of Israel. And yet he was pointing to something ahead when people from every corner of creation could turn to the Lord, something that was brought about by Christ. What is your picture of Christ like today? Do you truly understand the suffering of him upon the cross? Do you truly understand the suffering of him who left the glories of heaven to come to this earth to be mocked and spat at and reviled? My longing is that everyone here this morning will say, yes, we truly understand. Yes, as a result of that, we will turn to him. Which leads us on to what about us? What about us? What is our response? How does this psalm apply to us? There's a few different ways. First of all, I think we should use a psalm like Psalm 22 and use it to respond to the way that our Saviour fulfilled this psalm. Use it to respond to the way of the agony of the cross and the death that was mingled with victory. Do we truly comprehend it? Do we truly delight in it? Do we truly understand the anguish that was caused on our behalf? You could also say that the journey that David takes through this song, this psalm, is the journey that a Christian must take on the way to salvation. We saw despair turning to crying out, turning to adoration and praise. Christopher Ash says the psalm is an emotional journey. We need to face the bitterness of the cross before we can experience the wonder of worship and rescue brought about by Jesus. I would go further and say we need to understand that due to our sin, the natural state of sin that we're born into, we are so far from God. We face rejection from him, and that should cause us great despair. And therefore, we should be led to cry out to him for salvation through Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. And once we have received such a great salvation, there's nothing left to do but praise him in everything we do. It may be today that you haven't even begun on that journey. You may sit and think, well, I don't care if God rejects me. I'm not worried about that. And that's a very, in my mind, dangerous process, a dangerous thought to be having. Jesus says this in Matthew chapter 25. We're going to flip around scripture a bit for a few moments. Matthew 25 and verse 41, the parable of the sheep and the goats. He will say to those on his left, depart from me, you cursed, into eternal fire prepared by the devil. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 23, really talking about false Christians, but it's talking about anyone that's not trusting in the Lord. I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me. The fact is, those words, my God, why have you forsaken me, will be words that are felt upon the lips of many at the day of judgment when they recognize it's too late to turn to him and he casts them aside. And my longing, my desire, the reason that I'm here is that I hope that no one will ever hear those words, depart from me, or be led to think, why have I been forsaken? My longing is that people will be saved and turn to him. It may, however, be that you are a truly faithful Christian, trusting in the Lord Jesus as your Savior, and you have been walking with him for many years, many months, a few hours. And this psalm is equally relevant. There may be times in life where you feel that God has turned his face away from you, a God who promises to bless his people, and yet there is such hardship in your life. Have you felt that feeling of verse 2? I cry out day by day, but you do not answer. At night, I find no rest. I cannot sleep. I cannot slumber because I'm in the depths of despair. And it feels like God has forgotten all about you. This psalm should be a psalm of comfort. It's a way to lament. It's a way to come to him with anguish, but it should be a psalm of comfort as well. As David felt in the depths of despair, able to say in verse 3, you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In you our fathers trusted. They trusted and you delivered them. To you they cried and were rescued. God has shown himself faithful time and time again. And we have so much more evidence of that than David had. David lived in a world that was pre-incarnate Christ. We have had all of those promises displayed and answered. God showed his ultimate faithfulness when he sent his own son to die upon the cross and when he saved him from the perils of death on the third day. We have church history to look at. We have the faithful saints that have gone before us to look at. God has shown himself faithful time and time again. If you turn to him, he will not despise or forsake you. Yes, our sinful nature may make us feel that way, but we can take comfort and strength in him, in a God that has always and will forever be faithful to his people. Therefore, we can approach his throne of grace with confidence and will find mercy in our time of need. We can approach God confidently. It may be that today you feel that verse 7 applies to you, and I think sadly the Christian life is becoming more like verse 7 as time goes on. All you who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. I remember being at primary school and someone calling me Bible boy and me thinking that was the worst thing that could ever happen. However, I think we see even in those 20-something years since I was at primary school, we've seen an even greater turning to people mocking those who trust in the Lord. Where's our comfort? Where's our hope? I find it in Matthew chapter 5, verse 11. Matthew chapter 5, verse 11, words we read a few months ago as we were looking at the Beatitudes. Blessed are you when others revile and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad. Why? For your reward is great in heaven. Who really cares what people say? Honestly, I do. Words cut me to the quick. But should I care? Not at all. Where's my reward? My reward is in heaven. David offered us some comfort from such things in this psalm that he wrote. Verse 21 said, you have rescued me from the horn of the wild oxen. No matter how desperate we feel, he will rescue us. It may not be in the ways we expect. Verse 26 said, the afflicted shall eat and be satisfied. Maybe on this earth, maybe not, but he will rescue us nonetheless. Those who seek the Lord shall praise the Lord. If you are struggling this morning, take it to the Lord in prayer. Take it to him. He will not turn his back on you. Yes, life can be difficult. Yes, life may not be how we expect, and the answers to prayer may not be how we expect. But know with full assurance that the Lord will not turn his back on you if you are trusting in him. As we finish, it might not just be God that we feel forsaken by. Sometimes on this earth, we may feel forsaken by other people. It may be that other people reject and turn their backs on us. It may be because we're saved. It may be because of things we've done. And sometimes it's difficult to know what to do about that. Probably we should approach them with an attitude of forgiveness. We should speak to them. Some people don't even know when we feel spurned by them. Sometimes we take comments to heart that may not have been meant in the way that they were said. It may be that you feel people should contact you more, or maybe if you feel like that, maybe it's a calling to contact them. But people aren't perfect. It's a sad fact of life that some people will turn their backs on us. But there is one who will not. That's the greatest of all. That is God. Time and time again, he's promised his faithfulness to the people. Hebrews, if I can find Hebrews in my Bible, Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 5. Keep your life free from love of money. Be content with what you have. A difficult thing to do. But he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Words he said in Deuteronomy, words he said in Joshua to his people. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Remember Verse 28 of Psalm 22 says, kingship belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. He is the Lord. He rules over all the nations. The only reason he will turn his back on you is if you are still, phrase this right, in the depths of unforgiven sin. But wonderfully, 1 John 1 verse 9, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Turn to him while he may be found. And remember, if you ever, whilst on the Christian walk, feel that you have been forsaken, feel that you have been cast aside, feel that the problems of this earth are too much, there is much in Scripture to comfort us. 2 Corinthians 4:17, this light and momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. Romans 8 verse 18, and with these I finish. Romans 8 verse 18, I consider the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing. They are insignificant compared to the glory that's to be revealed in us. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, just a little while, you have been grieved by various trials. Or 1 Peter 5 verse 10. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Resist and stand firm in, resist the devil, stand firm in your faith. If you ever feel, as David felt, that the Lord has turned his back upon you, turn to him, trust in him, and remember how Christ felt upon the cross. The great suffering of that Saviour brought about such a wonderful salvation for us. Amen.